So what are the projects? Well, there is 5 of them here. The first one is the intersections. So MoDOT is going to pay to expand 14 Jackson Street from 65 to NN. They're going to pay to expand that to 5-lane. And the same thing on South Street from 65 to 3rd Street or Selmore, that intersection. They're going to handle 5-lane in that. So 2 drive lanes in each way and a turning lane. The city's on the hook for the intersections. We have to pay for that. However, we can use matching funds. So the 2 intersections, the intersection at NN and Jackson and the intersection at South Street and 3rd Street, those 2 combined are going to cost around $7.7 million. The city's part of that will only be $770,000. But in order to get the $7.7 million, we must have the $770,000. If we don't come up with that part of the cash, we lose it all. So that's one of those 2 intersections is some projects that would be funded. The other ones are sidewalks. Sidewalks all throughout the city, but particularly a sidewalk on South Street. I fight for all of Ozark. However, I live on the South Side, and I am the South Side Ward 1 Alderman. So I am absolutely going to fight for South Side. And in this case, this intersection is great, or this sidewalk rather is great for the South Side. If you've driven along South Street, you've seen kids walking along the road, or you've seen people walking to work down at one of the shops or the restaurants down there. You've seen people walking down there to shop. There's no shoulder. There's no sidewalks. It's just they're walking through ditches. That's crazy. We can't have that. People need safe sidewalks. We also need a school crossing there to get from the north side of the road over to South Elementary. This tax would help pay for that. City streets in general. Now, this is a biggie. Kind of like I mentioned a while ago, a lot of these streets were built or resurfaced at about the same time years ago, which means they're all failing at the same time. The city keeps a running list of all of our city streets, the condition they're in, and kind of where they are. Now, this list isn't concrete. It's fluid. It changes based on traffic patterns and money available and so on and so forth. But basically, we have a list of street maintenance that goes out about 15 years. All right? So it means if you've got a street right now that's okay, it could be 15, 16, 14 years. It could be years before the city gets around to paving it. Again, resurfacing it, whatever it needs, because it could be way down on the list. Meanwhile, the ones that are really bad, they're lower down on the list, but that's the problem we have is the street is nearly failing before we get to the point where we can replace it. We need to get caught up. So passing this tax will take our 15, 16, 17-year plan, somewhere in that range, and shrink it all the way down 5 years. In 5 years, we can do what would currently take us with current revenue, would take us about 15 years to do. Another is trails. Trails are huge. They're not only are they for healthy community, but they attract visitors. They attract tourists. And it's an alternate mode of transportation. Imagine being able to get to anywhere you wanted to go in the city on a safe sidewalk or a trail and not even have to get in your car. Beautiful weekend, hop on your bike, ride downtown, go to a restaurant, go to a shop, ride out to the movie theater, connecting the park and the trails at OTC Ridgewood campus and Garrison Springs. We can do all of that, connecting South Street to 14th Street to CC, all through trails. We can do that, but again, we need the money. So this tax will fund part of that. It won't fund it entirely, but what it does is it gives us money to go after matching money from the federal government. We can get hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars from the federal and state government to build these trails if we have a 20 or 30% match. No match, no federal money. So we need it. The last one, you've been hearing a ton about this one lately, is Riverside Bridge. Riverside Bridge is, it's in a bad location. It's too low. It's going to have to be replaced. We are talking to everybody we can, trying to find options to save the bridge, to pull it out of there and have it move somewhere else, turn it into a piece of art or something along those lines. And we're going to continue to work that. But that doesn't solve the problem of getting people across the river. We have to build a new bridge. It is incredibly complicated. There's a bunch of FEMA restrictions on that piece of land because that land was purchased from FEMA years ago, the old Riverside Inn was bought out. We've got some restrictions on the bridge now after the last flooding. It can't be repaired. It must be replaced. The replacement is going to be incredibly costly. The city has offered to work with the Ozark Special Road District, who actually owns the bridge, as well as the county. The three of us would like to go in with the other two to create a 3-group partnership to get this thing funded and not cost anybody a fortune. There's been some yada yada going on in the news about that they may not need our money, and if they don't, that's great. We're happy to take that money back and spend it on a project here in Ozark. But if they can build a bridge that we agree with, we would love to be a part of that project.